Happy St George's Day to everybody watching this. And it wouldn't be right if a channel called Roots of England didn't make a video all about today. St George, patron saint of England, the story of St George, and most importantly why the flag is incredibly important to us as a country, and the story really of what's happened in the last 12 months that has led to a reawakening, a re-emergence, an explosion really of patriotism in this country. So why is a national flag important to any country? I'm talking about England today, but why is a national flag important to any country? Well, for me, what it really symbolises and represents is togetherness, shared belonging, shared meaning, or it can represent that. You know, it ties together, if we take our own flag, it ties together heritage, history, myth, valour, tradition. All of those values are imbued within the flag of St George. And I think at a time when, certainly in this country, in England, I hope you can hear me okay here because the wind is a little bit gusty on this lovely day. At a time when, through various different means of propaganda primarily, attempts have been made, at least partially successful attempts as well, to divide people by identity into groups, into hierarchical positions. So you can identify as anything you want these days, attach yourself to any cause, any fad of the age, any trend of the week, you know, and that's all fine. It's live and let live as far as I'm concerned. But what I've found interesting for a long time is don't dare identify yourself as English, let alone espouse the values of Englishness and take pride in your country and imbue your life with the values that Englishness kind of bestows upon us. And I've always found this very interesting, which is why in the last 12 months, as I've seen thousands, probably millions of St George crosses going up all over the country, being hoisted on lampposts, adorned in windows, in working class areas and in rural areas as well. Now you won't see them in, you know, the wealthier kind of more bourgeoisie areas, but you do see them very widespread now in, as I say, working class areas and out in the countryside. And I do think that the very kind of least that a culture needs in order to be able to thrive, and our culture really in the West generally isn't thriving at the moment, is at least one golden thread, something, as I say, a shared belief, a kind of transcendent meaning, a story that knits together various different textural aspects of the society, of the history, the heritage, the culture. And that's why I think that in the last 12 months, as I've seen this burgeoning and this kind of emergent display, we'll go in here out the wind, of patriotism, it's been very uplifting to see. It's been very uplifting to see, and of course there's been a hell of a lot of opposition, vilification, ostracisation, smearing of people who dare to identify themselves as English first and foremost, who dare to display a degree of patriotism, who dare to be proud of their country, the story of their country, their history, their people, their heritage, their customs, and who dare to want to celebrate it. Let's just show you this small woodland that I'm in. I am being careful to stick to the path, so I'm not trampling on any of the delicate fauna and flora in here. But just to go off topic slightly, to show you talk about a typical English scene. Here you go. And if what I'm saying resonates with you, you know, if you're a proud Englishman or woman, or if you love the country of England, you don't have to be from England, of course. I know I've got a lot of subs in different countries. If you are interested in connection and community, conversation, culture, then join my Roots of England school community. If you just click the link in the description, and I think we've got 55 members now. It's free to join. So if this kind of content is making sense to you, if you like what it is that I'm talking about, you're going to love the school community that we've got. There's some wonderful people in there, some amazing conversations. As I say, we have 4 cornerstones: connection, conversation, creativity and community. And together, those 4 cornerstones, they make up the beating heart of Roots of England, which is culture. We celebrate English culture. So who was St. George? Well, myth famously has it that he slayed the dragon. And that is a archetypal story that resonates through the ages. There are dragons in our midst now that must be slayed. And where the treasure lies, the dragon guards the treasure. There are tyrants in our midst. There is a responsibility for anybody who is in tune, is connected to their ancestry, to their forefathers, to the land, to defend and celebrate what is precious to us. And St. George, he gives us the inspiration to be able to do that. He was a martyr, a Christian martyr who died in the 3rd or 4th century, spreading the word of Christianity. And again, in a country which has been built, at least to a significant degree, on Christian principles, Christian moral framework, and at a time when Christianity is under threat, not just in this country, but again in the Western world more generally. Then again, St. George is the inspiration for us. He represents fearlessness, courage, faith, trust, hope and valour, all of those things. And it is really incumbent if you are somebody like me who loves their country. It's not perfect, it's far from it. I mean, it's far from it. It has got some serious problems. But if you love the rural way of life, if you love the beguiling curiosities and the customs and the traditions that we have, they're gorgeous. It's the most beautiful country still for me is England. I've been to a lot of countries and I love travelling and I love experiencing different customs and cultures, ways of life, food, countryside. But this is to me the most beautiful place on earth that I've been to anyway, and I feel really deeply connected in a spiritual way to what I'm trying to show you here. And that's what I'm saying. The responsibility is bestowed upon those, including myself, who have an attachment and a connection to all of this, to yes, celebrate it, and yes, defend it. And that means by defending, by standing firm and unashamedly standing in whatever you think your truth is about your country, regardless of the smears, regardless of the petty tyrants who will call you racist, who will call you xenophobic, who might call you a little Englander, narrow-minded. Let them say what they want, because after decades and decades and decades of those insults, we now have a real movement emerging in this country of people who've had enough. They have had enough of being dictated to what they can say and can't say, what they should think and shouldn't think, how they should behave and shouldn't behave, by people who are narrow-minded and parochial themselves, bigoted themselves. They are the very things that they accuse others of being. This is a beautiful country that has its problems. It has some very deep-rooted problems, and I'm not going to beat about the bush at all. There are divisions, but what I'm trying to say is that on this day, St George's Day, and I've seen St George's crosses around here today, one outside the oldest pub in Lancashire, which is just down the road from me, hoisted high, flying proud. What I'm trying to say is, stand in your Englishness, be proud of it, regardless of what anybody else says, and know that there are many others now in this country and around the world whose love is so strong, who have a want and a need and a drive and a compulsion to protect and preserve and build on all of the amazing things that we've got in this country. I'm sick of the doom and gloom. There's a lot of people doing it, doom and gloom and negativity constantly. You don't see too much of this, what I'm showing you now. This is what I'm talking about. So St George, he shows us the way forward. It doesn't matter that he wasn't English. It doesn't matter that we don't know every detail about him. What matters is the symbolism, what he represents, what the story of St George shows us, who we are, who we can be, what we need to strive for, what is our responsibility to protect. You know, the George's Cross, which was actually named after King George, I think in 1940, you know, a medal awarded to men and women who show their incredible bravery in battle and war, and depicted on that medal is St George slaying the dragon. So there's really a message, if you dwell on today, on our patron saint, on what his story shows to us and tells us, and how it's relevant, highly relevant to our situation now. So, happy St George's Day. Fly that flag. Don't be ashamed, because we are English and we are proud of it. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like this video, please give me a like and a comment. And as I say, love to see you in the school community, the Roots of England school community, where there's conversation on different topics every single day. Some lovely people in there, and it's really nice. So feel free to join us there as well. Thanks for listening to this. Do let me know what you think, and I will speak to you soon.